as well. And since Catherine is already out of the equation and out of the team fight, or rather the pick and bans, Catherine used to be a really good counter going up against Baron, and so since that she's out now, the side of Celsior, they can just remove that of Arden, if not then Grace, so that the Baron do not have the extra healing or even the health barrier that Arden can provide in that early game. In fact, for the late game, Celsior Esports going for that Lance ban once again.
Yeah, we saw Lyra picked and Lance banned from A side in both games. So Lance is all right against Lyra. Lance is really a Lyra counter. Lyra's bulwark counters his impale and combat role. But I guess they maybe think that Lance is the next best captain after Lyra and Catherine, as opposed to maybe a Grace. So they just want to stop the opportunity for a Lance as an engager, because really the only other captains who can engage are Fortress and if you go Captain Glaive. And so that means with Lance out of the picture, you have to go something slightly off meta. Fortress is actually quite meta in other regions, but not really in Southeast Asia. The cruel ban from Brenchong is because they picked Baron, so they can't really pick cruel unless they go double weapon. And they don't want to pick cruel yet, so they would have just given it over to Celsior. They're going to pick the Grace captain. I think we may see a Shatterglass. It's more likely that we're going to see Echo, but it's definitely possible with the now 200% Crystal Power scaling that they're going to go Shatterglass Grace. And now we get to see what Celsior are going to counter this Baron with. I think they should go Kestrel. They could go Black Feather. That would still work against Baron despite his changes. But yeah, what do you think, Luxuria?
They could just come out with double carries that can counter this Baron very well. I wanted to say Black Feather and Ozo, but they are just going to settle for that. Glaive, I guess he does a decent job in that early game with those afterburns, and we did see in the previous game itself, the Celsior can hold their early game pretty decently. It's just that, Brenchong kind of found their footing afterwards, and then just orchestrated a very good comeback 9 minutes in. So with that Glaive being picked up, I'm not surprised if the side of Celsior would just settle for that Celeste at this point in time. Very good as a hero and very good as counter going up against that Baron, or they can go for that double melee comp and then pick out the Taka.
Yeah, Taka's a good decision. I think Taka is a great Baron counter, and it also means that Brenchong can't go. If they go Celeste, that's also a really good preemptive counter. They're going to go for the Crystal Power Black Feather. I think that's a good pick against Taka. Crystal Power Black Feather is kind of countered by Taka because he wants to generally not build much defense. But I think it could work really well for Brenchong, with Baron being able to just deal so much damage and Black Feather able to secure the kills. So I think it's pretty similar between the two teams again. No one's been completely countered by the draft, but I would personally favour Celsior with the Taka countering Baron, and Glaive, as you said, does quite well in the early game.
Yeah, but we did see though, the side of Brenchong, just looking at draft alone, I must agree with you, but look at how Brenchong played in the previous game. They really know how to work their mid-game, and we all know that Baron needs to wait for a few items being picked up on himself before he could put out any real damage. So the side of Celsior, they can really work their draft very well if they really push their early game. If they can do that, then and do not allow Brenchong to have breathing space, then they definitely will come out on top. But in that previous game itself, we do see Celsior just slacking a little after getting the first 4 kills of the game, and just allow that of Cruel and even Celeste to just farm up into the late game, just securing kills. Got too cocky for the side of Celsior at least. So, coming into this game, it is just down to how Celsior can keep the composure, whether or not they will allow Brenchong to breathe, whether or not Brenchong can farm up for the late game.
That's true. I think we cannot deny that Brenchong played their fights extremely well in the last game. They knew how to fight as a team, execute their win conditions, and so you cannot take that away from them. I think they'll be strong on this Baron. Brenchong used to play Baron quite a lot before his nerfs, and now after the weapon power ratio going down 130% to 120%, I think it's going to be much harder for them to pull off the Baron as well as they did before. But as you said, they can team fight well. So this Black Feather will poke for a little bit. Baron will jump jets either aggressively to try and get on top of Glaive, but that's so unlikely. Baron's just going to use jump jets for when Taka dives in or when Glaive dives in to get away. And with that 1 second invulnerability gone, this gives much more chance for Glaive to get Baron out of his jump jet. So Baron jump jet's away, Glaive can immediately try and stun him, maybe even before Baron gets a double shot off. Whereas before, that was just impossible. Baron would always get his double shot. Now maybe Glaive can stun him before that's possible, and they can just burst him down immediately.
Yep, and one more thing as well, it's that with that Graze being picked up for the side of Brenchong, I guess that of Baron and of course Black Feather can play a little more haphazardly, just go in face front first and just rely on that Grace for the healing. But we must not deny the fact that Lyra has just got so much better healing in terms of the early game. So in the early game itself, Celsior definitely have got it, but if they are going to play as of the previous game, you know, and allow Brenchong to just stomp over them after Brenchong gets the item, Brenchong would win this game for sure. But again, it is just down to the late game team fights, because we all know as well that Taka kind of lacks damage coming into the late game. Usually Taka would go. Usually
it's a good point you have, Luxuria. It's going to be all on this Taka. And talking with me about this game, once again, I'm joined by Azurai.
I'm back, guys. So we're going to be starting off our second game here with Brenchong and Celsior. For those who are just tuning in, we've seen Brenchong take one game already off of Celsior, but this is a best of 5. So, of course, we do know whoever gets that 3-0 gets the win. But here, Dead Hunt going to be starting off quite a bit aggressively onto Celsior. He's going to be trying to maybe get the last hit onto the truth, and he gets it indeed. Here comes Brenchong looking for a jump just activated here by Mr. Jim. Goes in with the burst damage from that double rockets, but Devil will be able to back away. Highest and Spitfire also trying to do best that they can. Burst Sigil will give them as much heals as they need to, but Brenchong, they are just going at it. Look at how aggressive they are. They are chasing them down to the ends of the earth. And the chase is not over. Their rotations actually get a huge chunk of the jungle of Celsior.
They do. They're going in as 3 against Spitfire, because Taka is horrible at level 1. He manages to steal that camp away. Sync 1 gonna go in.
3v2, huge holy Nova from Dead Hunt, and Highest is a recipient of damage right here. Dead Hunt is still gonna go a little bit uncontested, but they will back away. At the same time, on the opposite side of the map, Devil was actually able to get a bit of, I would say, farm from the jungle of Brenchong.
Yeah, he did, and it's in the afterburn. Mr. Jim, fight's not over yet.
Fight's not over yet, indeed, as in the lane, we went from jungle into lane. Mr. Jim gonna be down for the count, and that is a 1-for-1 in terms of the kills.
It is. Now they're going to break off, but yeah, they did get a little bit of farm away from Baron, so that's away from Sync 1, so it's Black Feather, which is good, but the gold lead is certainly in favour of Brenchong. Going as 3-man into this Taka was a really smart decision, because Taka struggles at level 1 despite double weapon blade, and now Spitfire's found Sync 1, but Dead Hunt's rotating down.
You're going to be chasing him down. This is a 2v1. There is the use on the invisibility here for Spitfire as they try to contest the second Treant that has spawned into the Halcyon fold. While in the lane, Mr. Jim will be going at it at the waves. They have to back right now, because that's a lot of CS that they're going to be missing. If they don't, they have. And now we have at least, I guess, calmed down for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of passive farming, and Blackfield's going to go back to his jungle. Glaive's just going to try and stay reasonably close to his turret, so that if anyone tries to gank him, he just afterburns under turret and will be safe. But Baron's doing a good job at keeping Glaive unable to farm, just with that splash damage from the minions and pushing the wave under turret, making it quite hard for Devil to farm up. And yeah, both teams want to just back off. I think it's probably going to be a Stormcrown Aftershock Taka, Spitfire with the weapon dates, obviously, for the clear, and now building into an Oak Heart. He's actually bought a light shield, so it looks like Taka's building Fountain, but I highly doubt that he will. It's more like just early defense against Black Feather, and they're going to go in.
Oh, Seek 1 might get caught out right here. Dead Hunt will be engaging. They find Highest, and he does not have the ultimate to get away, although Beryl Sigil will keep him topped off. So you did see there that Celsior wanted to push the lane quite quickly, tried to reset the waves, but Brenchong was just in time to, I guess in a way, get half of what that wave was. There's going to be a 3v2 right here. And this might have been a little bit of a bad decision-making from Celsior. Holy Nova will not be connecting from Dead Hunt, but there is the jump just from Mr. Jim. Double man connection right here, and the chase, it's going to be on. Devil looking for an aggressive afterburn from the backhand. Oh, this is going to be a little bit dirty onto Mr. Jim. He doesn't know, and he will get caught off right there, right now. He gets killed right off the bat. And here is Celsior 3v1 situation. Dead Hunt does connect a good health Holy Nova, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to be trying to capitalize. Actually, do they get the treant? No, they don't get the second kill as well, but they did catch off Mr. Jim as he was a little bit too over-aggressive.
Yeah, one very important thing to note there was that Spitfire went down to the shop, and the shop extremely quickly managed to get Stormguard banner to help secure the farm, whereas Mr. Jim went down to steal farm but didn't shop. The jungle shop had literally just spawned, so he could have just quick rotate down to shop, work towards your first item. He had enough gold for it, this Serpent Mask, but he didn't, which means he couldn't sustain. He got caught out by Devil's Afterburn and just bursted down immediately. So that's one slight mistake from Brenchong. Mr. Jim doesn't want to fight now. That's a massive wave for him. I think the Serpent's Mask first isn't the best idea. I think Solar Blade would just be better, but we're still yet to see what Barons should build this patch with the changes. Maybe sustain is a good idea now. Maybe he's going to build into a poison shiv and just go for a bit of attack speed to help apply that mortal wound. Well, I guess we'll find out. And Spitfire and Sigmund could fight each other in the jungle, or they might just shop.
Well, they're going to have a 1v1 right here. Who is the better bladesman? I think it's going to be Spitfire for the meantime as he pushes back Sync 1. But at the price of actually being engaged upon here by Brenchong, this could be bad. Look at where Highest and Devil are. There it is. They find Mr. Jim. There's going to be the defensive bulwark, but Mr. Jim, can he get away? The jump jets. Oh, he's surviving on a sliver of HP. And oh my goodness, what a clutch moment there for Mr. Jim. Does he get the kill? But he doesn't die himself.
Yeah, no XP for Spitfire, able to try and chase down that kill. And yeah, Grace has picked up Fountain. Lyra was next to the shot but didn't pick it up. So if a fight does break out, Brenchong are actually in a much better position. And Devil will have an afterburn so he can get away if he needs to. Takka's now picked up a Storm Crown. So yeah, Storm Crown Aftershock. This is really just going to try and burst down Baron. Highest unable to port. Good on point from Blackfeather. He's going to get another one. He could try it, but no, Highest will now get back to the shop. Pick up a Fountain. And I think Mr. Jim's going to go Serpent's Mask Tension Bow. So he's experimenting a different Baron build to what we tend to see. It could work. I guess the only way to find out is to see late game what happens. Will he sustain through the burst from Taka, or will having no defense be the real problem? And Spitfire will just do all of the damage and kill Baron before he can even try and sustain with basic attacks.
True enough. And wow, I'm just looking at the CS right now. Look at how much Mr. Jim has over Devil. 78 to 56.
Yeah, that is really the Baron just making it really hard for Glaive, almost impossible for Glaive to farm up effectively in the lane, because as soon as Mr. Jim's in lane, Devil has to back off, because he'll get splash damage by Baron's every single basic attack the Baron does on minions will splash onto Devil if he's trying to farm. So that just makes it so hard if Lyra's not in lane for Devil to farm up. And Taka with Storm Crown can easily solo the gold mine, and so Celsior just wanting to try and offset that gold deficit they're under by taking away gold mines when all three of members of Brenchong are in lane. That's one thing that Brenchong needs to get vision on. A gold mine, Taka, you know he's going to steal it again if you don't get vision on it.
They might so on the next rotation of that immense payout gold mine, but for now, they won't. Brenchong is going to be rotating to the bottom side to maybe buy off some items for the next fight. Interesting enough, Highest as well as Devil might get spotted out here, but Brenchong are backing away.
Yeah, nothing really going to happen. And yeah, Dead Hunt did get vision on Goldman, but Highest knows where it is. He could try and pop it. Nope. I think those scout traps, yeah, they are definitely a mate of each other. So Dead Hunt needs to spend money on vision, or just pop Celsior's vision. That could work as well. And Spitfire's already picked up a coat of plates against Baron, despite only having to stay.
Devil! Ooh, look at the damage coming in from the Glaive. He is just going in 1v3. He actually goes in a little bit kamikaze, and he pays with his life without any actually catch off right there. And now Brenchong are gonna be going for the punish as they look to break down the first tier turret of Celsior right here. And look at Sync 1 just go in with a Rose Offensive and delete straight off the bat the other member, which was Spitfire. Now that tier 1 turret is going to be easy pickings for Brenchong.
It will. Baron, despite having a Serpent's Mask intention bow only is just doing so much damage. Even though Spitfire has tier 2 coat of plates against Baron, he just got absolutely bursted by that Lucky Strike critical chance. Yeah, Mr. Dim going to work towards the Tyrants, can pick it up. Not quite yet, but he can pick it up. So full Tyrants Monocle. So that's really important that, that he has that available. 9 minutes in, 3 items on Baron, and Devil with only 2. So this is really because I think it's about a 40 CS lead for Mr. Jim, and that's absolutely massive. Whereas obviously Synquan is behind Taka by about 20 CS. But even so, we just see a 3k gold lead for Brenchong. So I think Celsior really have to get a good fight. They have to engage as 2 members on Baron, because in the last team fight, Devil tried to 1v1 Baron, but he didn't 1v1 because everyone else from Brenchong was there, so he ended up 1v2ing, or 1v3ing in fact. So, but they need to be as a team, Celsior, and now they are all 3 in lane.
Yeah, although I can't believe how much damage Devil had there. If only there wasn't support for Mr. Jim, which is, I guess, more so than not never really going to happen. That might have been a little bit in the advantage of Celsior, but again, they really can't force these fights because Brenchong's positioning and grouping up is pretty good in this game. Now you can see how much, I guess, bombardment is going to come out from Brenchong, and look at the damage. Even though they have the Lyra, she doesn't have that fast heals to keep Celsior topped off if the fight does break loose. That on point was staggering in terms of damage onto Devil, and Brenchong are looking for a little bit of rotation. Not sure how much the gold mine is worth now, but I think it's about immense payout levels already. So maybe this is the next point of contention for both of these teams.
Yep, we're about 230 gold roughly in the gold mine, and so yeah, both teams could go for it. But I think the visions is more important for Brenchong at the moment because they're up against Taka with that Taka invisibility. So if they know where Taka is before he goes invisible, then they'll know where he is when he goes invisible. So that's really important for them. And yeah, Dead Hunt with such movement speed can just rotate down to shop, up to lane, and just keep shopping. He's going to get an Echo. So instead of seeing Shatterglass Grace, we're going to see Echo Grace, which does make sense. Having 2 heals is generally better than 1 massive heal. And I think given that a Shatterglass would maybe double the heal, but maybe not, Echo just guarantees you get a double heal, and you can do it on split targets. So that's at different times as well. So say 1 engage, you kill Baron up to full, engage again, he's up to full. And I think Mr. Jim may have some connection issues. So we are going to pause at the game for now. Each team does have 2 minutes of pause time per game to sort out any connection issues they may be facing. And that's good for Brenchong. We want to see a 3 versus 3 fight. We don't want to see someone not on the fold.
Yeah, it does happen from time to time, but hopefully not this time. So it's been a very weird second game from my perspective. Brenchong have been starting this off really well. I mean, like before the stream started, we were talking about how, it's going to be a very close fight between Brenchong and Celsior, but Brenchong just, the
game has restarted.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there was a slight technical difficulty on the side. Maybe the pause might have caused that, but we're just going to restart the game, I do believe, with the same drafts for both teams. So Brenchong were slightly ahead, so that'll be obviously annoying for them, but
yeah.
you can't help it. As you said, some teams have connection issues. Sometimes the game doesn't quite work out. So we're just gonna restart, go back into the fold pretty soon. And I think it won't be too disappointing for Brenchong. They obviously were ahead, but it wasn't massive. It wasn't as if they were a 7k gold lead or they were just about to win. They hadn't even taken their first turret, I don't believe. So they hadn't really won many team fights. They just had the CS advantage.
That's true. And like I said, before we got interrupted with the game, having a little bit of issues, I was talking about how, again, we thought that it's going to be a much more evened out match here between Brenchong and Celsior, but it feels like Brenchong are getting that, I feel like are getting the picks that they want, as well as how they're, how they're commanding how these games are unfolding.
I think Brenchong are definitely comfortable on most heroes. They play as a team really well together. That was one thing Celsior did slightly wrong in that game, was they didn't play as a team. Glaive 1v1 tried to 1v1, Taka tried to 1v1 in the jungle, and that wasn't really where their composition shined. Their comp shines if you can get Baron caught out and just burst him down immediately with your Grace and your Taka and your Glaive. So they really need to fight as a team. It's definitely possible for them to try and turn this around. They need to be careful of being invaded in the jungle. So they know at level 1 it's likely they're going to be invaded. It's likely they're not going to get that much from at the start. And so Glaive could just rotate straight to Brenchong's backs, or maybe Taka tries to start with his mid, trying to offset a little bit of that early engage.
Yeah, but oddly enough, that early game coming out from Brenchong, just immediately forcing themselves in the jungle was something that I didn't really expect, because it felt like Celsior had I feel like the advantage earlier on, just because they do have I feel like the heals and maybe even the dive potential to go heavy onto Mr. Jim.
Yeah, definitely. I think at level 1, we know Brenchong has the advantage because they can just go against Taka. Taka is extremely weak at level 1, and Baron with his jump jets can either run away if they try and engage on you, or he can jump in and try and do a lot of damage against Taka. So I think after level 1, I definitely agree that it's going to be Celsior with the early game, but it's just that initial farm clear that Taka has, which is so slow, which means he's going to be in trouble and pretty unable to contest, because what can he do? He can kite in a little bit of damage, but he can't Kaku and run away. He has to stay visible, and that's one of Taka's main one of his main advantages is that he can go invisible. Level 1, that's not possible. Even with the glaive afterburn, I don't think it's enough if Mr. Jim just saves his jump jets.
That's true. So I think we're about to reset the game, and well, it's gonna be a little bit curious if Brenchong are gonna be doing that strat once more, and if Celsior are gonna basically deja vu it all over again and get caught out. But I think this time they're gonna be prepared. Of course, it's a little bit unforeseen that this happened, but it's still something that both of these teams have to deal with nonetheless.
They have to be prepared for the unexpected to happen, and I think that definitely Celsior aren't going to be caught out by the rotation. They may not have that much to counter it. Obviously, they could just stay as 3 members in their jungle, but that's not really what they want. They want, if the rotation happens where Brenchong invade, they want to go into the enemy jungle and steal camps away. So that's what they need to do if Brenchong decide to invade. But they could. I think it's likely that Brenchong will just do it again. But maybe because it won't be a surprise, Brenchong might just go, we'll just farm our backs up and try and get towards maybe a more mid-game power spike for Baron. But we did see when Baron had 2.5 items, he was melting through Taka and Glaive.
Yeah, that was insane. And again, the control of Brenchong, and I guess the hesitation of Celsior to put more bodies on the lane to at least keep this Baron in check is really the thing that you got to be careful with, because we saw how much of a CS lead there was coming out from the Baron compared to Devil's Glaive.
Yeah, it definitely. I think the Glaive had a lot of damage initially as a burst, but Baron, even with the tension bow, had more sustained damage throughout the fight, and also with Serpent's Mask, he could sustain himself, healing up a little bit each amount of damage that he did at the fight. So it looks like Brenchong are going to be more defensive. Celsior actually looking like they're going to be the invaders and trying to catch out Brenchong, or they could just try and push the wave. So I think it's going to be, definitely Brenchong thinking that their surprise invade obviously won't work as the second time. So I think they'll be unfortunate for Brenchong. They had a much better early game before, and now Baron's just going to try and farm up his wave.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, we're back into the Halcyon Fold. This is our second game. Celsior versus Brenchong. Brenchong really having a good advantage already here as they're going to go for that level 1 fight. They fought out for the Treant, but Brenchong is up for the chase. Mr. Jim goes in aggressive, connects a pretty decent rocket connection, but it's going to be Dead Hunt to lead the fight right now. And they are angry. Brenchong wants to start off with an immediate first blood. Will Devil be able to actually get something out of nothing? But I think that's not going to happen, as Highest will be the first blood recipient. And look at Brenchong. They actually got another play into the jungle of Celsior. What the hey. And they're going to go in, once again, aggressive. There's Imperial Sigil, but it's not really going to do too much damage as Brenchong is trying to port back into the base. There's going to be the usage onto the flare, and Sync 1 won't be stopped with his port. So there you go, Minimiter.
Yeah, that is Mr. Jim able to get back home. Just the weirdest place to port home. Don't go in the bush, just stand in the middle of their jungle and port. They're not going to find you, apparently. First kill for Baron is extremely good. He wants to get that gold, as much gold as possible. And yeah, a 1k goldie for Brenchong just already. as you said, stealing some camps away. Spitfire has 0 CS. He's so lonely on this Taka. Hasn't been able to secure 40 golds worth of minions yet, and he may even be caught out.
Oh my goodness. He's getting all the levels, though.
This is just even. He's getting levels. He's level 2 somehow over highest, and they're both at 0 CS. And he gets one. Taka finally able to secure his first minion, but Devil could be caught out.
Dead Hunt, though, as well, could be caught out right here. Oh, he's so close. There's going to be the movement speed boost from the Taka. Or rather, the mobility from the Taka. Sync 1 is right here, and he's actually doing a decent amount of damage onto highest. If Mr. Jim can actually capitalize, maybe get that kill. Actually, he doesn't even need the help from the Baron. It's going to be a 1-for-1 and 2-for-2 on our score, or rather our kill score line.
Real good trade for both sides. Spitfire will probably be very, very annoyed at this point because he's just unable to farm, which is an absolute disaster for Taka. He needs to get he needs to get some levels, needs to get items. Baron jumping in, Devil. If jump jets from Mr. Jim, Devil will fall almost definitely. But now Lyra's there, he should be fine, hopefully.
He is fine, but at what cost? He took so much of a beating right there, and Dead Hunt's even here to join in a little bit onto the party. Now, we are going to be seeing Sync 1 solo this tree and in the bottom side, and wow, I just can't believe how Brenchong is still able to pull their shenanigans in the jungle of Celsior. Celsior, I think they're playing a bit too split right here. We're in, if Devil's not there, Spitfire and Highest are kind of easy pickings, even with the invisibility from that Taka's Kaku.
Definitely, I think Blackfeather's really good at chasing down someone. Grace is equally good, and Lyra has decent disengage, but not really at level 3. She can kind of heal and boost, speed boost you away, but not it's not up that often. So Blackfeather can really chase in. Mr. Jim's wanting to farm up with his jungle. Sentry is now spawned, so Taka should be happy that he can actually farm safely. He's going to try and invade a little bit onto Sync 1. He obviously can't do too much because Sync 1 is ahead on levels and gold. Devil doesn't even want to go near this Baron. Just going to port home, and Dead Hunt's going to try and stop it. One basic attack will stop 2 ports. So that was really good from Dead Hunt. Devil just wants to go back to base or bait Dead Hunt into taking some turret shots. So I'm not sure which one. He probably just wants to get some farm, I think, Devil. He doesn't actually want to port home.
Yeah, he doesn't want to because that wave is going to be reaching his turret quite soon, and he doesn't want anything, or doesn't want to miss a thing. Yes, Aerosmith. And now Celsior.
I don't want to miss a thing either.
Exactly. So now it's going to be a 3-man push here by Brenchong. They're really making it so that Devil's not going to be able to get any safe farm, quote unquote. Yeah, safe farm. I actually missed the quote unquote. Yeah, but still, you can see how Brenchong are, again, commanding how this game is progressing. Devil is in a, I guess his back is against the wall. You know, they're actually dictating how he plays right now. So it's really, I feel like Brenchong to, be able to, or either have a huge grip on this early game.
Devil hasn't shopped yet. He's got 3k gold, and once again the CS lead is not as significant. Only 10 CS lead for Baron. He's not at that 10 CS a minute mark that you expect most laners to be at, mainly because he's had to rotate down to the jungle to try and stop Taka being ahead. But Mr. Jim is actually going to take away the back from Sync 1, so they really want to farm up this Baron. They're not worried about Blackfeather not having the gold because he took a little bit from Taka, and he's going to be able to pick up Shatterclass anyway. So Mr. Jim going for the same build again: Serpent's Mask, Intertension Bow, and Tyrants. I think it worked out for in the last version of this game, so it should work out for him as well now. Devil is unable to pick up Soul Blade, so this is a good time for Brenchong to fight. They're ahead on gold, and there is an item on Mr. Jim, but there isn't a tier 3 item on Devil.
Now you can see Spitfire will be buying up into his items. Already has a Storm Crown here, so maybe he can go for that sneaky gold mine. But for the meantime, Brenchong, I think they already have plans, or the counter plans against that. But Celsior will be looking to actually engage Devils right here. Dead Hunt is a pretty juicy target, but that is a Grace. You don't want to overcommit because she can take quite a bit of a beating, as Sync 1 and Mr. Jim are not far behind to go for that response for their teammate.
Yeah, Fountain on both captains, and there was a Protector contract picked up by both captains, so that's just trying to help the laners predominantly not get caught out. Mr. Jim unable to pick up both those CS. They went down to the turret, And yeah, now Devil's just being sneaky. He's waiting. They know that Devil's somewhere. He wants to get an after on Mr. Jim. But Taka not
Spitfire! Spitfire stole no sync one! He doesn't get the steal, and the Kaku will actually keep this Taka alive for very good, or rather very good timing. Sync 1 was not able to get the punish.
Where
Now
is
Sync
1?
1?
Is he out of position?
Is he out of position, or is Celsior out of position right there? There's the Iron Cannon, Mr. Jim. Although that wasn't enough burst to actually take someone off of the map of the fold, Brenchong will be just looking to break, maybe put a little bit of damage onto this first tier turret. Devil though going aggressive. There is the afterburn. Well, and look at the damage. Mr. Jim, oh the humanity. Here comes Dead Hunt as well from the sidelines. Defensive, Rose offensive coming in from the Black Feather, and he will be able to fight for another day as Dead Hunt going in from the back line, hoping to actually get a revenge kill or to even maybe have saved Mr. Jim there, but he was a tad bit too late as Celsior now trying to break their first tier tower right here, right now. Dead Hunt in a 1v1 against Devil. There is going to be the offensive, or rather the initiations coming in from our own Black Feather. He will be shot here, but here comes Mr. Jim from the sidelines, goes in with the rockets, deals a lot of damage there, but it not really gonna matter too much as Celsior does have the Lyra without the 3v3 in mind, without the Black Feather and the Baron to go in onto one target. I think this Lyra is gonna be able to heal someone up. And will they back off? My goodness, this fight is going a little bit too long, but now I think it has passed for the meantime. Dead Hunt will survive, and what a fight.
They are going to finish the fight eventually. That was an extremely long one. I think everyone died and just respawned and continued the fight. I think it was very good for Celsior. They managed to engage on Baron together for like the first time that we've seen. And obviously it worked out for them. Obviously Devil with the good afterburn, and then Spitfire was just there, ready to deal the damage. Before Mr. Jim could jump jets away, they'd already burst him down to nothing. And so that was a good fight from Celsior. Then they just kind of tried to not get caught out, not to be in a poor position, and they got a little bit of damage onto the turret, not too much, but it does obviously help. Now Highest can pick up a full item, he's going to get the Crucible and work towards just some vision to try and help this Taka. And the attacker did solo the gold mine just barely. Taka in fact almost died to the gold mine when he tried to solo it, but he did pick it up, and then a great Kaku to run away from Sync 1. The CS now for Mr. Jim is extremely ahead of Devil. About 20, which is normally something you'd say is really good for Baron, but compared to the 40 he had in the last game, I think he'll be slightly disappointed with only 20 CS lead. And now they're looking for a fight. Iron Cannon, not quite for a fight.
Maybe just Iron Cannon to have a quick clear of that wave, possibly, because Brenchong aren't really looking for what you said is going to be the fight. They're just trying to get Mr. Jim into that point wherein he's a bit more fed up in the game. Not really fed up, like he's bored of it. Or
fed up with the game.
Fed a lot in the game. There you go. But now they're going to be initiating onto the fight. Sync 1 will go a little bit diving into the face of Highest. But Mr. Jim was a tad bit too out of position right there, and Spitfire is nowhere near his teammates. So it's a little bit of, I would guess, poke from both of these teams.
Yeah, I think the poke war will almost certainly be won by Brenchong with their Black Feathers on point and with Mr. Jim having range as opposed to Spitfire and Devil both being melee. So Celsior need to not let themselves get poked out that much. They need to try and engage onto Baron as a priority, and jump jets is used. They could try it, but the Highest is far too low to try and fight. Devil with an infusion. Sync 1 is about to run out. Mr. Jim's got one ready to pop. And there's a binding cannon. So Brenchong are either going to push the wave or try and fight now.
They want it. They're pretty comfortable with what's happening right here, right now. Highest has to back away. He's already taking quite a bit of beatings here from Brenchong. And this Lyra might be the chink in the armor of Celsior. As you can see, that she is so low in HP, but there's going to be the on point to keep her HP, again, as low as possible. While, wow, Mr. Jim was able to put 50% or half of the damage onto the turret, which isn't too bad. I mean, even though that is a first-tier turret, even though it is easily broken down, Celsior's defense is pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're able to defend this turret, and now as both teams got vision on Goldmine, I think so. I don't think Daka's going to be able to solo that. And Brenchong just want to clear their wave again. Iron Cannon to clear the farm. Mr. Jim has such quick farm clear that I don't think Celsior are going to be able to push the turret unless they get at least one kill, probably even two. is necessary for them to be able to push this. Baron and Blackfeather can defend the type pretty easily. Infusions on Blackfeathers has run out, and Glaive and Taka have both got one ready to pop just in case a fight does break out. But they're Celsior are going to be the team to engage, so if a fight's going to break out, they have to engage it, because Baron and Blackfeather are just going to poke you until you try and fight, then they'll try and run away. So Celsior have to be the engagers, have to be the team to try and dive on top of this Baron.
Oh, guess what? Now, Mr. Jim has 40 CS ahead of Devil. We got there. He got there
Eventually, just had to wait a little bit, and now they could fight, but could look to engage. They're just going to push the wave, and both teams don't want to go in. Celsior need to be the team to go in. They can't just wait like this, because Baron will scale up. So will Crystal Blackfeather. It'll be do much more damage than this Taka. So yeah, I think this is a mistake from Celsior to not try and fight reasonably soon. The gold lead is only about 1k in favour of Brenchong, so they could try and push the wave, and they are going to go in for the turret.
They are going to go for it indeed, but at what cost? Look at the damage that's coming in from Brenchong. Devil solo! Chasing down right now. Highest has to back away, as well as Spitfire for the meantime, as Brenchong is looking to actually capitalize onto that first tier turret. Get it broken down right now. Dead Hunt is going to be dodging it, diving in, gets a stun connection onto the Taka, able to actually get that Kaku out of there. And that was a pretty slick maneuver away from Brenchong, but Brenchong still able to get what they came for. 1 kill, 1 turret.
Yeah, and now they want to get something else. They want to get the gold mine. Lyra, as the Imperial Sigil, a little bit early to actually steal the gold mine away. He's going to wait to try and get it, but I think Baron should be able to secure this. Yeah, pretty easy. Devil is going to boost in. They're going to go for a fight.
They're going to be forcing their way in onto the Blackfeather, but the Rose defensive able to save him. There's going to be the usage, I believe, onto the ultimate here of the Grace to keep this Blackfeather alive. Good amounts of heals, and now Celsior's plan has gone asunder or awry for the meantime, as now they're going to be looking to push the wave. Although I feel like with the heals coming in from the Grace, well, Sync 1 will be ready to fight, as well as Mr. Jim. So I don't know what Celsior can do right here, right now. But still, it looks like Brenchong will try to go for the force here. Sync 1, he wants it, but will he get it? I think that's gonna be a no. But Mr. Jim is gonna bait himself out. Goes in with the jump jets. 3-man Holy Nova from the Grace right here. Look at the damage onto the Taka. Has to go and force himself with the Kaku. Brenchong thought they wanted to go for something, but they are just making it so that Celsior cannot capitalize on a turret. Mr. Jim has backed away. Now, Celsior right here, gonna force themselves onto Dead Hunt. Dead Hunt, how is he surviving? There's the Rose offensive, there's the kill, and they will not stop at all. Highest is right there. He has the passage, but Mr. Jim can just piggyback right onto that one. Double kill for our very own Brenchong, and they have gone impressive 5-5, but still the momentum of the game in the hands of Brenchong.
Yeah, they have. Mr. Jim just picked up a straight tornado trigger, and Taka's going to go in. He's not going to get anything, hasn't got the damage to do so. And I think the important thing to note there, the Taka's going to go deep. He's going to try it.
Oh, he's going deep indeed, but he took quite a bit of damage from Mr. Jim right there. And Jimmy boy, is going to be shut down, but Sync 1 gets the revenge.
How is Blackfeather not shot? He's got 4,000 gold. Sync 1 needs to go home to get a Broken Myth and probably another full tier 3 item if he wants to. He's going to get an Aegis, yeah, and then work towards a bit of weapon power defense. Sync 1 able to pick up whatever he wants. He'll probably get an Infusion now, maybe even tier 2 boots. And so the fact that Brenchong could win that fight, despite having almost no items, considering how much money Sync 1 had, is really important, because that means that now that they've spent their gold, they're going to be even further ahead of Celsior. So that's obviously good for Brenchong. The fusion for Devil has now run out. Spitfire's refreshed his, and I think it's going to be really hard for Spitfire to actually 1v1 Baron in a team fight, because we saw Taka going in while Baron was trying to focus the turret, and Taka took an extremely long time to actually secure the kill on Mr. Jim. So they need to go as 2, Devil and Taka, and even then you've got a Blackfeather to worry about, who's going to be doing pretty significant damage, probably around 400 now.
Oh my goodness, look at Mr. Jim just hopping around like a cat. And, well, looky-do right here. Wow, my goodness. Double kill already for Brenchong. And Spitfire, what is he doing? He's just going in around, trying to go for the Xretsu onto Mr. Jim. But it will not be enough, and Brenchong gets the ace. It will get the Kraken as well. And that looked effortless for Brenchong.
That was pretty much all just Baron. I think Black Thunder was useful, provided some close offenses, but I don't think he landed many on points. But it was just all Mr. Jim with this 5 damage build already. 17 minutes in, he's got Serpent's Mask, Tension Bow, and Double Tyrant's Tornado Trigger. That's a 100% crit chance. That's a Tension Bow proc when he starts the fight, and a Serpent's Mask to sustain. This could be the new Baron build, I think. First item, Serpent's Mask, then work into 3 critical chance items, and now he's fully built with that with the Journey Boots. I think it's so hard for Taka to actually kill Mr. Jim. I think Spitfire should have gone for the Shatterglass Broken Myth build and Shatterglass Broken Myth Clockwork, because you just have no cooldown. You have cooldown, but you have no damage on Taka as compared to this Baron, who's full damage. Even though you have defense, it's just not important. Now they're going to try and push this Kraken. Sync 1 is going to push them back. Celsior have such a poor Kraken defense comp that they can't even do any damage to full health. And there's just Mr. Jim going to go in. What can Celsior do? They need to get rid of this Kraken, but in order to do that, they have to kill Mr. Jim immediately.
But can they? There's going to be the force movement here coming in from the side of Celsior, but it's not really going to matter anymore as Mr. Jim and Brenchong are just 2 up ahead in the ranks. And, well, there you have it. Game 2. Well, they had a little bit of difficulty in the early stages of the game. They were still able to get it. Brenchong 2-0 in this best of 5.
They do. Brenchong take the second game with a fantastic Baron play. I think even though Baron got nerfed, he's still really strong. You have to respect Baron picks if your enemy decide to do it. I don't think you have to counter it. You have to go for maybe an Idris, maybe a Ozo is quite good against Baron. I think the Taka and the Glaive could have worked really well if they'd have won the mid game more, maybe won the early game, trying to stop Baron farming up. What ended up happening was they had a double melee composition into a pretty much double range. Blackfeather hasn't got range, he's a melee hero, but because he has the on point where that has quite a significant range, it gets increased to overdrive. The Blackfeather basically becomes ranged as well as Baron, and so you just have nothing you can do. Baron will kill you before you can even have a chance to get on top of him. So well played and well drafted by Brenchong. I'm looking forward to see if Baron's available for them in this third game.